Summer had wrapped the estate in a vibrant tapestry of colours, the air thick with the scent of blooming flowers and freshly cut grass. Despite the beauty surrounding me, a veil of monotony clouded my days. In the vast, silent halls of our home, the absence of my husband, who spent more time in airplanes and boardrooms than with me, grew louder each day. My activities were predictable, each moment scheduled with the precision of a well-oiled machine: morning yoga, afternoon teas alone, evening dinners in silence, an echo of the loneliness that clung tightly to my chest. This particular morning, however, promised something different. A new garden boy had started working, his presence on the estate as fresh as the summer breeze. Young and vibrant, he moved through the gardens with a grace that was almost poetic, his hands skilled in the art of nurturing life in the rich estate soil. There was an ease about him, a charm that set him apart from anyone I had encountered here. It wasn't just his looks. Though undeniably handsome, there was a light in his eyes, a passionate energy for his work that intrigued me deeply. I found myself watching him from the window, curious about the way he seemed to communicate silently with the plants. It wasn't long before I ventured outside under the pretense of inspecting the new blooms, the garden's vivid colours, a stark contrast to my inner world's growing greyness. As he noticed me approaching, his smile was warm, inviting, and it sparked a flutter in my chest that I hadn't felt in years. "Good morning, Ma'am. Beautiful day, isn't it?" he called out, wiping his brow with the back of his hand as he stood up from planting a row of vibrant marigolds. "Yes, it certainly is," I replied, my voice a little more enthusiastic than intended. "The flowers are coming in nicely. You do wonderful work." "Thank you," he said, his eyes bright with genuine pride. "There's something incredibly honest about working with soil. It's grounding, feels real, you know?" His words, simple yet profound, struck a chord with me. Here was a young man who found joy in the simplicity of earth and growth, a stark contrast to the complex and often cold world I lived in. His passion for life, evident in every gesture, every bloom he nurtured, made me yearn for a semblance of that sincerity in my own life. As we talked more about the gardens, I found myself drawn to his perspective, his refreshing enthusiasm, a balm to the numbness that had taken over my life. This was just the beginning, I realized, a new chapter that promised shades of joy I hadn't anticipated. The air hummed with the energy of a midsummer day as I strolled through the garden, guided by the young garden boy who seemed eager to show off a secluded corner of the grounds I had rarely visited. "Over here, I've been cultivating something special," he said, his voice tinged with excitement that was contagious. As we rounded a bend, the garden opened up to reveal a hidden enclave where sunlight dappled through the leaves, illuminating a cluster of iridescent blooms that seemed to glow with an inner light. "These are moonflowers, rare around here," he explained, his hands gesturing towards the delicate petals that shimmered in the gentle breeze. "They bloom under the moonlight, and their fragrance, it's said to be quite enchanting." His eyes met mine, sparking a connection that sent a wave of exhilaration through me. It was a moment of shared wonder, a simple joy in the beauty of nature that I hadn't experienced in what felt like lifetimes. As he spoke about the flowers, his passion for his work was palpable. Each word painted a picture of a world where every plant and petal had a story, a life of its own. "I believe that gardens are like secret diaries," he mused. "Each section tells a story, some of joy, some of sorrow, but all of raw, unfiltered beauty." His words resonated deeply, stirring a sense of adventure and curiosity that I hadn't felt in years. The conversation drifted from flowers to dreams, each of us sharing our aspirations. His were full of ambition to transform landscapes and create natural sanctuaries. Mine were more introspective, desires for connection and understanding, long suppressed under the weight of routine and expectation. He listened intently, nodding thoughtfully, his responses thoughtful and provoking. I found myself divulging more than I had intended, drawn out by his easy openness and genuine interest. The excitement of the interaction was unlike anything I had felt in recent memory. Here was someone who saw the world not just as it was, but as it could be, filled with potential and beauty. The stark contrast to my stagnant, choreographed existence couldn't have been clearer. As we parted ways that afternoon, the echo of our conversation lingered, the excitement bubbling within me a promising hint of what was to come. This unexpected encounter, I realized, might just be the spark I needed to rediscover the parts. Discussing the placement of new shrubs. Each meeting was a dance of words and glances, an elaborate disguise for the growing connection that neither of us could deny. The garden, once a place of solitude and reflection, transformed into our clandestine meeting spot. Here, amidst the burgeoning life and overgrown paths, our conversations deepened, straying far from the innocent topics that first marked our interactions. We shared secrets and dreams, our words intertwining like the vines that climbed the old garden walls. This new chapter was thrilling, each whispered word and stolen touch sending a jolt of excitement through me. It was a diversion from the emptiness that had pervaded my days, filling them with anticipation and wonder. The rational part of me recognized the potential consequences, the risk inherent in our stolen moments. Yet, the emotional void that had once consumed me was now replaced by a vibrant tapestry of feelings, each thread woven with vibrant shades of joy and desire. I told myself this was merely a summer fling, a brief respite from the realities of my life. It was harmless, I reasoned, a temporary escape that hurt no one. With each day, I grew more adept at silencing the nagging voice of conscience, pushing away the guilt that sometimes threatened to surface. After all, weren't my needs important too? This affair, though not ideal, was a testament to my longing for connection, for recognition, for something that stirred the soul. The intensity of our connection made each encounter feel inevitable, as if drawn together by a force greater than ourselves. Despite the part of me that called for caution, the larger part craved the exhilaration, the sense of being alive that only these moments provided. In his presence, I felt seen and understood, a stark contrast to the invisibility that often cloaked my existence within the walls of my home. This affair, I convinced myself, was not a betrayal, but a survival mechanism, a way to reclaim pieces of myself that had been long buried under the duties and expectations of my everyday life. It was a declaration of existence, a profound assertion that I, too, deserved happiness, however fleeting it might be. The delicate balance of secrecy began to falter as subtle changes in my behaviour did not go unnoticed. The lightness in my step, the distant smiles that played upon my lips while lost in thought, caught the watchful eye of my husband. His casual inquiries about my day, once perfunctory, now carried a hint of probing, laced with an undercurrent of suspicion that was hard to miss. "Seems you've taken quite an interest in the garden lately," he remarked one evening, his voice casual but his eyes searching. "I see the garden boy has been keeping you good company." His words, meant to tease lightly, struck a nerve. The mention of the garden boy in such a context sent a wave of panic through me, the seeds of paranoia beginning to sprout. In response, I crafted my replies with care, injecting just the right amount of nonchalance. "Oh, you know me, just trying to make the best of summer," I would say, or "He's just been very helpful with the new planting scheme." Each explanation was reasonable, yet each time I spoke them, a twinge of guilt gnawed at me, the weight of my deceit making it harder to maintain eye contact. As days passed, this newfound paranoia took root, casting a shadow over every stolen moment. Each laugh shared in the secrecy of lush greenery now echoed with the risk of discovery. The once exhilarating thrill of our meetings now carried an undercurrent of fear. I found myself glancing over my shoulder, a part of me always alert, listening for footsteps that might be approaching, for signs that our secret world was about to be invaded. The shift was palpable, the air around us charged with a tension that mirrored my internal turmoil. The easy laughter and light touches gave way to hurried whispers and quick glances, our interactions marked by a growing urgency, a need to hold on to what we could while we could. This fear of discovery began to weave itself into the fabric of our affair, the risk of losing everything becoming a silent participant in our encounters. It underscored the reality of our situation, that what we had, however beautiful, was built on a foundation of secrecy that could crumble at any moment. The knowledge that each goodbye could be our last lent a bittersweet edge to our partings, a reminder of the fragility of this world we had created away from prying eyes. A close friend, always perceptive and unafraid to voice concerns, finally broached the subject that had been unspoken yet visible to observant eyes. Over coffee, her questions pierced the comfortable facade I had maintained. "What's really going on with you? It's more than just garden talk, isn't it?" Her tone was gentle yet firm, the concern genuine, but it pushed me into a corner of defensiveness. With a practiced ease that surprised even myself, Decisions. The departure was swift, a silent acknowledgement of the irreparable rift that had formed. With each step away, the finality of the moment sank in deeper, the closing of a chapter that had been written in hidden glances and whispered promises. The consequences of the affair were now real, palpable in the cold distance that immediately began to form, an insurmountable barrier built in seconds. As the gravity of the situation settled, the aftermath was a landscape of emotional wreckage. Trust, once the cornerstone of the relationship, lay in fragments, each piece a reminder of a moment, a choice that could never be taken back. The hurt was evident, the sense of betrayal a cloak that would not easily be shed. It draped over every word, every silent meal, every night spent facing away from each other in a bed that now felt too small. The struggle to navigate this new reality was a journey through a minefield of hurt feelings and bitter recollections. Attempts at conversation were strained, the words awkward and heavy with the unsaid. "Can we move past this?" was questioned, more in hope than conviction. The desire to repair the breach battled with the hurt that echoed in every corner of the now fractured home. In this new chapter, the path was uncertain, strewn with the debris of broken trust and the shadows of past mistakes. The journey forward was daunting, each step a negotiation between the heart's capacity for forgiveness and the mind's insistence on self-preservation. The balance between moving forward and being anchored to the past was delicate, fraught with the potential to either heal or divide further. Reflections on personal choices became a daily meditation, a quiet reckoning with the consequences that stemmed from fleeting moments of passion. The echo of what had been lost was a constant reminder of the cost of indulgence, the price of stepping too far away from the vows and promises once made with heartfelt sincerity. It was a time of deep introspection, an opportunity to confront not only the actions that led to the unraveling, but also the reasons behind the yearning for escape. The process of seeking forgiveness was a humbling experience characterized by open, honest dialogues that were as painful as they were necessary. Each word, spoken in the pursuit of understanding and reconciliation, was a step toward mending the broken pieces, an attempt to find common ground in the shattered remains of trust. The road to forgiveness was not linear. It was fraught with setbacks and moments of doubt, each day presenting a choice between clinging to resentment and embracing the possibility of a new beginning. Simultaneously, the allure of a fresh start tugged at the heart, whispering promises of new beginnings, free from the shadows of past misdeeds. The idea of stepping into a life unencumbered by the weight of prior choices was tempting, a siren call to the part of the soul that longed to rewrite its narrative. This path offered not just escape, but also the hope of rediscovering oneself, of building a future founded not on the expectations of others, but on the genuine desires of the heart. Yet, the decision to forge ahead alone was daunting. It meant not only leaving behind a shared history, but also stepping into the unknown, armed with nothing but the lessons learned from the experiences that had tested the very fabric of being. The balance between the comfort of familiarity and the exhilaration of new experiences was delicate, each option holding its own set of fears and potential joys. In this critical juncture, the pull between past and future, between redemption and reinvention, was a battle waged in the quiet moments of solitude. It was a decision that required not just courage, but also a profound understanding of self-worth and personal growth. The choice made would be a defining moment, a testament to the strength gained from facing the deepest fears and failures head-on, ready to embrace whatever lay on the path chosen with a heart wiser from the journey. Embracing the path of self-discovery and personal growth, the commitment to therapy became a sanctuary for unburdening the soul and untangling the web of emotions that had governed actions. Each session was a step towards understanding deeper truths about desires and motivations, an exploration that brought clarity and painful yet necessary insights. Acknowledging vulnerabilities and confronting fears head-on facilitated a healing process that was as transformative as it was challenging. This journey through therapy illuminated the patterns that had silently shaped decisions and relationships, revealing how past experiences and unmet needs had steered behavior towards the precipice of self-sabotage. The work was intense, often leaving a feeling of emotional exhaustion, yet there was an undeniable strength that emerged from facing these truths. It was a rebuilding of the self, piece by piece, with the guidance of a therapist who provided the tools to reshape a healthier, more aware existence. The newfound knowledge and self-awareness fostered a resilience that had been previously untested. It was a slow but rewarding process that nurtured a sense of peace with the past and a reconciliation with the present. The mistakes made were no longer chains that bound to a cycle of regret, but were lessons that informed a more mindful approach to life and relationships. The commitment to personal growth fostered a self-respect that brightened the once dim outlook on life. In this phase of renewal, the horizon began to brighten with the promise of new beginnings. The possibility of forging relationships founded on mutual respect and understanding, rather than the frantic filling of an emotional void, became a realistic and hopeful prospect. There was an excitement about the future, a clean slate upon which to write a new chapter, one that reflected all the growth and insights gained. The sense of peace that had once seemed so elusive now cradled the heart, a gentle acceptance of the complexities of life and the understanding that every experience, no matter how painful, carried with it the seeds of wisdom. This peace was not a destination, but a companion along the journey of life, a profound understanding that each step, each decision from here on out, was informed by a deeper sense of self and a commitment to living authentically. Looking forward, the path was lined with opportunities for joy and fulfillment, for relationships that added value and experiences that enriched. There was a quiet confidence in the ability to face whatever challenges might come, with the knowledge that the tools to handle them were now firmly in hand. The future was not just something to be endured, but to be embraced with enthusiasm and hope, a canvas waiting for new dreams to be painted.